Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to round 2 of the Raceface GT3 Sprint Series Season 10, this time at Circuit of Americas. My name is Stephen Koenig, and joining me in the box, right here in America, is Yanneman Price. Yanneman, how are you feeling considering freedom is at the door?
Good evening, Stephen. Yes, good to be back. It feels like we were on air just last night, but as you said, we are over to America, all the way from down under over to America tonight, and we're going to go racing at the Circuit of the Americas. Very interesting track. It's a kind of a love-hate track, I would say. Some love it, others not so much.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a brilliant one. So let's go and take a look down to the circuit as qualifying has started for our drivers. The guys having to really work it out. Going to be an interesting one. We were at Suzuka the last time. Now we're at likes of a Circuit of Americas. And turn 1, as we see a brilliant shot from Tim the cameraman, actually showing the gradient all the way down that the guys are going to have to climb the hill to eventually get right to the top and have a bit of fun here at Circuit of America. Very easy to go off on track limits, lots of room to play with though, and the drivers are going to have to really keep their foot in it. Very harsh on the tires as well, so that's going to be something for everyone to consider. Fuel, tires, what's the track going to do as they fight their way around here for round 2 of the Raceface GT3 Sprint Series.
Absolutely, Stephen. I think it would be interesting to see what type of strategy the guys follow tonight. Not just in terms of pit stops, I'm talking setup as well, because Circuit of the Americas, a lot of it requires high downforce. There's a but. You're sitting with that long back straight. If you've got too much downforce on the car, you're going to be a sitting duck for the cars that have got lower downforce around you. So let's see who follows what strategy. I think you'll have to look at something like the best of both worlds kind of strategy. Not too much downforce, not too little, to have the car planted through these tight and twisty sections like we see Basson going through here. This is a section you need the downforce. You need the car to stick. It can't slide around too much. Otherwise, it's just going to understeer off the road through here.
Yeah, and guys are having to try and figure it out. A little bit of slipstreaming action is going to be needed as we see Mahath Musa putting the power down. He's trying to close down the distance for the Project Vapor team onto the back of one of the Lamborghinis and jumped into second place a little bit. So he's having a great time out there. So far, Bashir Jadwat putting in the fastest time of a 2:06.052. Mahath Musa doing a 2:06.085. But he got beaten out. Ryan Ottens, our defending champion, going and jumping with a 2:05.5. So being about a second quicker than the rest of the field. Bashir down into second place. Mahaya Musa into third. Fourth place is Leclerc Basson. Kundu Pasi down into a 5th place. Enric Sickers is in 6th place. He's having a great time out there, really putting on a huge amount of pressure. But the time's starting to roll in. Everyone starting to drop that pace. Can't go out too wide there as we see Domingo just going and pushing the limits of the track limits. Chris Heineke, he's back out on circuit having a bit of fun. He's trying to close down on the likes of Bashir Jadwat, who is out in front, so he's trying to close the distance to his teammate. Justin Lotus in 10th place at the moment, with Nicholas Manuel trying to chase down the distance. Going to be interesting though, because there seems to be a up-down movement between Bashir Jadwat and Ryan Ottens at current. We cannot go and take out the rest of our 31 car grid that we have here, because anything can happen in the world of motorsport. But it does look like Ryan Ottens is having a bit of a challenging time. And we did talk about it in our recap that Daniel Petro is going and having a huge amount of fun in the Hybrid Academy Lamborghini as he slides his way through. So keep an eye on Daniel. He's been keeping it consistent through the season.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Sorry, Stephen. He started making his way out to the front during the course of last season. Had an absolutely brilliant first race at Suzuka, and he's looking to charge his way to the front and start challenging Ryan Ottens for the win. Now, at this stage, we've got Bashir Jadwat out in first place with a 2:04.9, and at this stage, Ryan Ottens playing a little bit of catch-up, only in third place at the moment.
Yeah, so it's something to keep an eye on. And then you got Quinn Duplessis, he's out in 4th place. Justin Lotus is out in 5th place. Mahaif Musa in 6th. 7th is the Club Basson, Sunjin Pillay, Nicholas Manuel, Andrik Sikkers, Issam Domingo, Eric Kirstein, Johan van der Merwe, Chris Heineke, Jason McGregor also out into the field. Grant Sebastian going to try and chase them down. He's currently lying in 16th at the moment. 17th is Michael Schultz, Christopher Radloff, Alan Patterson is back out and having a great bit of time out there. Jean Viviers is in 20th, 21st, Darren Miller, Tiernis Buertha, Martin Rotenbach, Tini Nkube, Hansi Myberg, Daniel the Hitman de Villiers, Ronaldo Boersma, Essie Esterhuis, Ramona Jonker, Charles Darden, Dean Kabasa, and Heinrich de Vet. 32 cars now on the grid, and it's starting to get bigger, better, and faster out there. This is only our Pro division. We still have our Pro-Am division that's running as well, also with about a 32 car field. So something to bear in mind here at Raceface. We've got tons of racing going on, and it doesn't matter what skill level you're at, you get to have a bit of fun and some good side-by-side racing as you make your way around the circuit of America for round 2 of our Raceface GT3 Sprint Series. And might I say, absolutely fantastic to see these cars going and howling around this track. It has got me wondering who will be able to go and keep it all together, especially through the dreaded S's, as they have to try and keep the balance of the car to ensure that they're not sliding out, putting wear and tear on those tires, or even going over track limits. That is something that we have seen repeatedly throughout last season and a little bit of this season.
Yeah, absolutely. But Circuit of the Americas, as we know from past races, me and you having some personal experience, track limits, they can definitely come to play in this race, especially, Stephen, the sprint race, where the guys are going, flat out, start to finish, trying to get out in front, trying to get the quickest lap times in possible to try and charge their way to the front. It's something that can bite you. Definitely track limits on this type of track.
Yeah. Bashir doing a 2:04.9 as his quickest lap time, is currently 0.1 up on his previous lap time and doing the best. Ryan Otten's trying to close it down with a 2:05.2. Remember, he is the defending champion and will be doing everything to chomp at the bit to keep going. Daniel Dematros Petro looking to try and close down the distance. Andrik Sikkers up into 4th place. Good to see a different name up into the top 10. And let's see if Andrik will be able to make a bit of work there. And then we've got Quinn Duplessis. He's out in 5th with Sunjin Pillay trying to close down the distance. Justin Lotus in 7th. We've got a great mix of names out in the front, going and changing things up a little bit. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what these drivers will be able to do with only 3 minutes and 43 seconds left of our qualifying. As time is starting to run out for all these drivers. And if you can't get that banker lap in, it's time to just go and put it in the pits, wait, take a breath, and get going once again. Ryan Otten's though, trying to go a little bit quicker. He's 0.3 up on his last lap time. He's trying to close down on Bashir, who's had a little bit of a rough sector, doing only 0.3. So let's see if Ryan Ottens will be able to improve it, utilizing a tow of the Ferrari just ahead of him at the moment. But I've got to say, after driving that Porsche 992 GT3R, it's just a very interesting vehicle to actually go and pound around in. Not as slippy and slidey as you would think the Porsches would be. It's actually a far more comfortable, and has got me very confused about why Porsche didn't do that at the beginning.
Well, I drove it before you, and I told you what it was, and I'm sure you thought to yourself, nah, that can't be. And after today, you changed your mind a little bit.
I thought you hit the wall more than once. You hit your head plenty of times to tell me that it would rival the BMW, but looking at it, well, it's been a very interesting car. The Ferraris also seem to be very, very strong around the circuit, with the guys able to get some fantastic times. The mid-engines going and having a great time out here. Our front engine cars like our BMWs and our Mercedes having more of a difficult time. And then you've also got the likes of the Lamborghinis just not coming to the party as much as they would like. McLaren's also just not too favored for the season. A lot of drivers saying they do have some good tracks, but they've also got a few cons as well. Jason McGregor, he's out there in the Merc, actually putting in a tremendous time. He's actually 2 seconds up at the moment, so he's trying to jump out of 18th place. See if he can keep it all together, because if he can, this is going to rocket him up the ladder. He's up 2.3 seconds on the previous sectors, on his previous time. He's trying to close down on that 204, well, the 204 that's been set by Bashir Jadwat, who are out in front. 2.2, can he hang it all together? This is going to be an absolute banker if he can keep it all together. Yaneman, expect to see Jason McGregor rocket his way up to the front, because this Mercedes is hanging on for dear life at this point. 1 corner to go. It's all about keeping the power down. And will we see a proper upset of a change? Will Jason McGregor be able to do it? Was 0.1 up? Oh, just losing the gearing right at the end. And holding that 18th place. He was 0.1 of it. He was a second up, 2 seconds up, and then just couldn't get the drive down the straight.
Yeah, losing all of it in the final sector. That's kind of interesting to see. But Stephen, you mentioned the difference between the mid-engine, front-engine cars. I have a feeling around the circuit of the Americas where rotation is very important. I'm afraid the mid-engine cars might have the upper hand tonight. Got a feeling that the front engine cars are going to start struggling with a lot of understeer, because this is a very tire demanding circuit, especially on the front tires. So we'll have to wait and see what tonight holds. At this stage, Mataya Musa in 4th position with the BMW, but surrounded top 3 by mid-engine cars, and even 5th and 6th by Ferraris, and then only a BMW, the BMW of Domingo, in 7th place.
It's going to be a proper close run, and I can't wait to see what the guys will be able to do. It's going to be one of these races that hang on for dear life, because we're about to see something very interesting. But time has run out for everyone. Bashir Jadwat currently out in 1st place. Ryan Otten's doing his best to try and close down the distance, but it looks like he is actually down on his time. Daniel Demartros Petro in 3rd place. 4th is Mahaith Musa, Nicholas Manuel, Quinn Duplessis, Enric Sechers, SD Essaus in 8th place. 9th is Domingo. 10th is Sanjan Pillay. So that is our top 10 at the moment. The Basson hoping to go and beat that out. He's currently in 14th, going 0.1 of a second quicker. Jason McGregor going 0.4 of a second quicker than his previous lap time of a 2:06. So a couple of guys still giving it that final outright push. But this final section to get yourself all lined up and get yourself going. If you stretch out too far, you will hit track limits and have your lap deleted as they come across the line. Maith Musa, he's still pushing. He's 0.1. Ryan Otten's also 0.1 up on his previous lap time.
Absolutely, Stephen. Looking out on the chat, Robert Wentworth says, looks like Bash is back. Yes, indeed. Will we see Mr. Ryan Ottens have a little bit more of a challenge tonight, Stephen? And will Bashir Jadwat keep him in check maybe and put up a fight?
It's going to be an interesting one, but we cannot count out our 32 cars out on the grid. It's going to be a very, very close one. But our cars will be starting to line up on the grid as they get ready for qualifying. Well, since qualifying's done, they're going to be concentrating on the race at hand. So, with that being said, guys, it's Circuit of America, land of the brave and the free out in Texas. So we've got to do it absolutely properly for the racing. And, well, got to give you a sight of all the cars. So Tim the cameraman's going to jump into the heli. He's going to get himself in, sorted. Our cars lined up. And now it's time for Bill, our sign guy. First time we've had Bill in, that CF will be his last. Bill, over to you.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America, and gentlemen, start your engine!
There we go. Thank you very much, Bill. Good to have him. And if that doesn't get you pumped up, I don't know what will. Bashir Jadwat currently out in first place. Ryan Ottens in second place. Daniel Petro in third. Mahayath Musa in fourth. Nicholas Manuel in fifth. Sixth place is Quinn Duplessis, Unrich Sichers, Issy Esahace, Issam Domingo, Sanjan Pillay, rounding out in 10th place. 11th, Ronaldo Boersma, Heinrich de Vet, Justin Lotus, Leclerc Basson, Jan van der Merwe, Christopher Radloff, Chris Heinecker, Jason McGregor, Michael Schultz, Charles Darden in 20th position, 21st, Eric Kirstein, followed by Martin Rotenbach, Grant Sebastian, Alan Patterson, Ramon Ionka, Jean Viviers, Tennis Bertha, Darren Miller, Tinian Kube, Dean Kabasa, Hunty Myberg, and Daniel the Hitman de Villiers, rounding out our 32-car grid for the Circuit of America, for the Raceface GT3 Sprint Series Round 2. And there is the legendary shot for everyone. Revving it up, and away they go as they round the corners. They will be starting off. All eyes are going to be on Bash. It seems like he's recovered the magic, as we've seen before, but will he be able to hold it, though, as they make their way around the corner, slow and steady, 70 kilometers an hour. There's the hill they have to climb just ahead of them. Bash trying to go and make sure that he is as far wide as possible to the inside line as they get ready to charge it up. We've seen what can go wrong before in Formula One, in GT racing, in everything. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, line up, get ready, get those engines fired up into first gear, and we are racing. Biggity, biggity, booty, we are racing. And Bashir up onto the inside, he's locking it out. Ryan Otten's trying to go around the outside. Daniel Petro going to the middle. He's got Mahayath Musa running out wide, and a bit of contact happening behind. Bit of chaos as everyone trying to sort their way through. Nicholas Manuel, Issam Domingos, Enric Sichers, Ronaldo Boersma, Justin Lotus, Leclerc Basson, all involved in that battle. But out in front, Daniel Petro right onto the tail of first and second place. Bash and Ryan doing everything they can to keep it all in order. Mahayath Musa off to a great start as well, avoiding a lot of the carnage at BMW, getting right underneath the rear wing of Daniel Petro. And now take a look, Nicholas Manuel closing down the distance as well.
Yep. Great first start, Jadwat getting out in front, but now, Stephen, this corner, Ottens is going to try and stick to the rear bumper of that Porsche. This is the long straight we were talking about. It's never ending. Ducking into that slipstream of Jadwat, trying to keep as close as possible behind that Porsche. We know the Porsche, the old Porsche, was not that good at top end power. Ottens looking on the inside. Is he going to make it? Jadwat just in front. Shuts the door in his face and just says, no, you're not coming through this time. But I think Jadwat and Ottens at this stage, they are keeping each other busy, and that's going to allow Jadwat and Ottens not to open up that gap to third place, Daniel Petro and Musa in fourth. And even fifth place, Nicholas Manuel. I see there's a slight gap back to sixth place, Domingo. But the field very much bunched up at this stage, and I think it's going to take a couple of laps for things to settle down. But having said that, Stephen, this is a sprint race. Things never quite settle down in these races.
That's it, and especially with one mandatory pit stop for the drivers needing to do, it's going to come down to when are you going to do it, what's your planning, are you going to take fuel, are you going to take tires, what's going to be the plan as they come across the line. Take a look though, Ronaldo Boersma, he's going on the attack of Sichers side by side as they run up the hill. And it's going to be hard on the brakes. Will the BMW be able to get on the brakes a lot later than the Ferrari? Does so. Sichers going in, braking, tries for an undercut. No luck there, but Justin Lotus looks to come in for the fight as well. Jan van der Merwe, though, has done his pit, and so has Leclerc Basson has done their pit stops early on in the race to get it done and dusted. So a couple of interesting strategies going on to play here. Christopher Radloff has got Jean Viviers right behind him. Martin Rotenbach also going and giving a huge amount of pressure with that Porsche, trying to get right underneath the rear wing of Viviers. It's going to be a close battle between them. Hard on the brakes. Has to try and keep it all in check. But the Porsche seems to be on a winning wicket right at this moment.
Yes, it is. But just coming back to the pit stop, Stevens, as we have a look at this battle between Rotenbach and Viviers, side by side down this straight, but Viviers keeping up that inside line and closing the door on him, and the Ferrari will have to tuck back into that slipstream as they go down the long straight. Ferrari side by side action. Doesn't look like there's that much difference in the top speed of these two cars, but it does look like the Ferrari is going to go up on the inside. Have a look. Oh, slight little contact there, but causes him to run wide, and the Porsche up on the inside again. Awesome close racing, Stephen.
Rotenbach getting a good run, so did Quinn Duplessis, but at Charles Darden's expense as they made their way through. So a couple of guys just not having a good run out there. Guys having to try and figure out what's going to be best as they put the hammer down. A couple of guys have done their pit stops though. Van der Merwe, Besson, Alan Patterson and Schultz have done their pit stops. But back out in the front, starting to open up a bit of a distance, not between each other, but to the rest of the field, is Bash and Ryan Ottens as they run up the hill. You can see that Ferrari looking mighty quick. Looks for the inside line, does so, bit of a dive, and whoa, rubbing racing and a proper dive. I think that might get the Jeff Sended Hancock's award.
Just wanted to say the same. That would have made Jeff proud.
That would have been it. That would have been the one. But this is going to be an interesting little battle to keep an eye on. But even further down through the field, you got Justin Lotus and Jason McGregor. They also close to one another. Martin Rotenbach has Quinn Duplessis right behind him. Tini Nkube has got Daniel de Villiers also right on his tail as they make their way around the circuit. So little battles forming all the way through the grid. But keep an eye. Let's see what Sekkers will be able to do. Unrik hoping to get a little bit more of a run. He's got likes of Johan van der Merwe, Leclerc Besson that have also done their pit stops. Chris Heineke's done his pit stop. Alan Patterson, Michael Schultz and Tienes Bertha have done their pit stops. Ramona Jonker, Essie Estes and Hansi Myberg. Every one of those have completed their pit stops really on early in the race, such as lap 1, lap 2.
Well, this being a longer track, and what I mean by longer track, we're talking 2-minute 5 odd lap times. It does allow the strategy of early pit stops. And what I mean by that is it does allow you to get into the pits, put in that 1 liter of fuel, that's your bare minimum to register a pit stop, and get out well in front of the leading pack so that they don't catch you in order to lap you before they have to do their pit stop. So what that does is it allows you to, in theory, run a quicker pace because you're not in a pack as we see Jason McGregor and now Boersmeyer. You're not fighting for a position, or you hope you're not fighting for a position, and you can put in quicker lap times that way.
Yeah, and you're getting into the toe like what Nicholas Manuel's got with Mahias Musa as they really give everything it can. Ryan Otten's getting the jump on Bash and now starting to open up the gap. So the Porsche reeling a little bit after the passes. Daniel Demarchis Petro has got the likes of Mahias Musa and Nicholas Manuel constantly putting the pressure onto the back of him and keeping going. I see that it's going to be a very, very interesting one. So I've got to say, this is turning into some phenomenal racing. I see Cameron de Bastos saying first and final race for Mr. Dean Cabasa. Give it all. So I'm not quite sure what's going on, but Dean Cabasa has been working incredibly hard, and we've seen him in other championships as well. So it's something we'll have to just try and get a little bit of ideas of what's happening. Daniel Rowe, aggressive move, but wasn't defended well enough. Defend too late. You can't defend too late. Can't leave it too late with Ryan so close behind. Very, very true. Goes for all our drivers. You cannot leave a pass. You cannot leave a door open. You have to really go and stand on the power and get going. So I think it's going to be a very, very interesting one for the guys to try and figure out how is this all going to work. Okay, so yeah, just a bit of information there. Dean Cabasa currently out on screen. Cameron DeBastos saying Dean won't be racing for a little bit. He's going to be taking a hiatus for a little bit and will be returning at a future point. So Dean Cabasa, buddy, this little spotlight is just for you while you chase after Charles Darden. So with your race, you're going to also take a hiatus. We look forward to having you back in the seat after the hiatus, and maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to catch up to you. Maybe. I've got to see how long you've taken off.
Maybe, just maybe, that's the break he needs, and he'll be fighting for the lead when he comes back. Stephen, just very quickly back to the battle for first and second place between Ottens and Jadwat. As we have a look in the previous shot down turn 1, I mean, that turn 1 is as wide as Texas. If you're going to leave defending too late there, the guy behind you's got the world of room to go, and he can pick any direction to make the pass on.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye out for, and especially considering come the pit stops, they're going to be exiting out into that turn 1 literally on the apex. So that's also going to make life a bit interesting for anyone trying to get out or go for the apex. They suddenly have a slower car there. Maeth Musa getting ahead of Daniel DeMarchos-Petro, now getting a little bit more grunt underneath him. Daniel a little bit unsteady with that Lamborghini going, and you can see there's a bit of rotation underneath it. He's having to catch the whole time as he gets a little bit more of a drive. Side by side though, Ronaldo Bursma and Issam Domingo having a good race. Whoa, Issam! Listen, buddy, I don't think you're cleared for takeoff. Yannaman, I've just got to ask there. You're a drone pilot. You qualified. Did he file the correct paperwork to take flight like that?
Not entirely, Stephen. He took off before he reached the runway on the back straight.
Well, maybe it's a drone. You can take it off from anywhere. You just got to run up at the helipad. You got to do the things correctly. No, it's interesting stuff to see how the guys are doing it, but a little move like that can severely impact your race, going and taking a heavy knock on the vehicle, heavy knock on the tires, and also upset. And all that you need to do is just land wrong. If you're landing on the brakes, if you're landing while your steering's turned at a slight angle, well, mate, you're going to be in a world of hurt.
Absolutely, and at this stage, Daniel DeMarchos-Petro, he's in a world of hurt. He's got a Nicholas Manuel problem that he needs to deal with. Nicholas Manuel right on the rear wing of that Lamborghini and making life very difficult for Daniel at this stage. But Stephen, you mentioned a little bit earlier on, I don't think Daniel is that comfortable with that Lamborghini at the moment. It looks like he's fighting the car a little bit and definitely vulnerable as we see Manuel look up on the inside, but Daniel just says, no, you're not coming past at this stage. But see, let's have a look at this battle as they go through the S's now as they approach it. That Lamborghini wasn't too happy through here on the previous lap, Stephen. What's going to be the case this time as we have a look on board with Nicholas Manuel? You see it keeps tightening up on you. Each turn is a little bit tighter than the previous turn. And now you go through this little left-hander sections on the throttle for a small while, and then you're tight right-hander again. Now you need to get on the power early through the kink and on your way down to the back straight through this next little kink. Now here's a very interesting turn. Stephen, I never quite know where to turn in for this turn because you can't see the apex at this stage. Oh,
neither did Nicholas Manuel.
Neither did Nicholas Manuel.
Nicholas Manuel going very, very wide, and now having to come back. He's got Ronaldo Bursmo, who's just flashing his lights saying, buddy, I'm coming for you. You ain't running away from this one. But I think trying too hard, tunnel vision, as you said, it's very difficult to spot the brake marker into that hairpin. Some guys, like myself, we tend to go into the wrong gear. We tend to go down too far and lose a lot of drive. Others tend to be at the wrong pace when they go into it as they go flying by. Issam Domingo, he's got a bit of a problem as well with the likes of Sanjan Pillay and Justin Lotus closing down on him. Heinrich de Vet trying everything he can, trying to go up on the inside to retake his position. Oh, contact between Sanjan Pillay, both of them sitting just on the racing line. And Jason McGregor saying, well, thank you very much, buddy. I'm going to take that one and get on the power. Start accelerating away. So really trying to keep up some amazing drives at this point. But it's turning into a very, very difficult run for a lot of these drivers here at Circuit of America. And I can see a couple of Pirelli tires starting to take an extreme beating around this circuit as they get worn out. And that's going to be the fatal one, I think, come the end of the race, where the guys are going to have to rely on that mechanical grip.
Yeah, and at this stage, Ryan Ottens has opened up about a 1.8 second gap over second place man Bashir Jadawat. And Mr. Kundu Plessis in 14th place. He's trying to make his way up, as we see in the background there, the Porsche running wide. That's the vet, isn't it?
Yeah, I just got yellow flags here with Jason McGregor. And it looked like DeVette and him landed up with a bit of a problem going into turn 1. This is just chasing down Justin Lotus. Into turn 1, up the hill, spot your braking marker, easily to turn it round. Oh, there is a Ronaldo Busma facing in the wrong direction, and Heinrich de Wet going and taking the long way around. So, a little bit of a rough time for Busma. He was just sitting off to the one side of the circuit, now not having a great time. Christopher Radloff, he has got the likes of Eric Kirstein right behind him. Eric not hanging back at this point. Quinn Duplessis and Vivier is also taking the fight right to the front as they put the power down. So very, very interesting things happening up and down through the field. But I'm keeping an eye on Sickers, who's still leading it out of everyone that's done pit stops. He's lying in 22nd place. As we see Kirstein having to go and lock up on the brakes, trying to avoid going to the side of Radloff. That killed his drive. Quinn Duplessis now coming and hunting, looking left and right. Goes up on the inside, tightening it up. A bit of a circuit cut there, and he will get a warning for it, so he's got to be very, very careful of those track cuts. Gets pushed out wide to the sausage curbs. That's allowed Viviers to get right behind him. So let's see if Jean will be able to go and make a little bit more moves at this point, tucking in behind, getting right into the toe and trying to force his way past. But some interesting battles, interesting lines, and gotta say, interesting to see how guys are taking different gearing sections. As we know, these cars are BOP'd exactly the same, but sometimes the gears are a little bit different. The BMW having a lot of low-end torque to get it running around, where your Ferraris have a lot of high-end power, so you've got to keep the power bands different. In turn, where you should be lying in second gear in a Ferrari, you're lying in third in a BMW, because otherwise it's revving its guts out. So you've got to be so careful of where you're going and putting yourself and which gear you're actually in, especially on a circuit like this where every apex counts. I've got to say, this is one of these tracks that if you can drive Circuit of America quickly, you can do the first half of the Nordschleife circuit without an issue.
Really?
It genuinely is, through the S's. It's all about commitment, getting your gearing right and balancing the car. If you go and work your way up the hill, you're doing exactly the same.
Well, Stephen, you know, I've said to you many times before, I'm an expert on the first half of Nordschleife circuit. I've done that hundreds of times. Second part, not so much, because I never get that far before crash. But one of those things.
Dean Cabasa
running wide.
Yeah, he was running wide and had Darren Miller going up on his inside. They've got Martin Rosenbach right behind them, going and keeping company, but Miller looks like he's got the drive. And you can see Cabasa trying to walk Miller onto the dirty line, under braking, and oh, goodbye. Both of them running wide. That moment that you're looking for the bit of contact with Martin. Oh, Miller trying to get himself back, and Martin taking the opportunity.
I don't think we expected Rotenbach to be there.
No, I don't think at all. I think that was just one of these ones of, well, try and close down on the car ahead of me. Didn't expect Rotenbach to close down on both of them so quickly. And now Dean Cabasa has got the problem, as he's really doing everything he can to try and keep it all together, going out a little bit wide through this last little bit. And now it's about gunning it all the way down to the wire as they tuck into the toe, hang it in third gear, keep the drive up, keep your revs up. So some great racing going on. And also Heinrich de Wet, he's out for the KSR Pro-Am. Not really in Pro-Am this time, he is in Pro. And he is chasing after Jason McGregor just ahead of him. That BMW doing a fantastic job. Viviers, though, in 15th, he's going after Quinn Duplessis just ahead of him, who is starting to close down the gap to Eric Kirstein. But out in front, Ryan Ottens keeping a 2.3 second gap over Bashir Jadwat. Mahaith Musa in third place. Daniel Demetrio Petro in fourth. Fifth, Nicholas Manuel. And this battle going on, Issam Domingo and Sanjan Pillay. Sanjan just getting on the inside. I mean, Domingo, unfortunately, getting the power on, it looks like he got a bit too much rotation in the rear, slid round, had to get the grip back and get going. But that has allowed Justin Lotus to start putting the pressure on. Looks to the inside line, and Issam Domingo going to try go later on the brakes. And take a look, Sanjan's also slow. Wee, Sanjan got the raw end of that stick because he got his teammate plus Domingo arriving on the scene and landing up going around him. And Domingo going out wide as he really tries to get the power down. But Justin Lotus going in, blocking it every... Oh, there's a contact.
Oh. Yeah, and Sanjan takes back the position.
Bit of contact as well as Jason McGregor gets it. And now it's time for Heinrich de Wet to go around the outside. He gets pushed out very, very wide. Domingo's not going to back down from this one. The Porsche just chopping the nose of that beaver teeth BMW of note. And now it's time for the likes of Ronaldo Boersma. Looks up for the inside. He wasn't able to go and make it stick. Going to try it again. And Heinrich de Wet going slow. Domingo going and losing out time. And Boersma up. Now drag racing up to the line. Middle of the circuit though. Not where you want to be, especially for this very, very tight hairpin. Hard onto the brakes. And is he going to make it stick? Domingo's going to try put his nose in. De Wet going out wide. This is a battle for 8th, 9th and 10th, might I add.
Yeah, I'm not actually quite sure what to say because, you don't know where... I think Domingo, he had a very, very bad lap. He slipped back through the positions. Boersma now in front of him, so he's going to try and fight his way back up to get back to Sanjay Pillay, but I think Sanjay Pillay opened a fair bit of gap over him now. He is way out in front, but Domingo definitely, he's in the battles tonight. I mean, fighting 2-3 cars wide. These guys are not holding back.
No, it was absolutely amazing, and hats off to the lot of them, but you can see where mistakes are being made, whereas they really start getting that tunnel vision, and you start closing in on the back lights of your competitors. Justin Lotus pulling Christopher Radloff along, Eric Kirstein trying to get into that toe, Jean Viviers right behind him, 14th, Charles Darden. Daniel, the Hitman de Villiers, is ahead of Dean Cabasa. Dean Cabasa has got Martin Rotenbach right behind him, and Darren Miller, who's now into the toe. So Miller now looking to try and get into the toe, looking for the inside. Backs out of it. He's going to try go a little bit later on the brakes. Goes for it. Going to send it. Absolutely send it. Come on, buddy. Proper send. It's got to go through to the post office and clear customs. There we go. That's the way you do it.
Well, it's actually a very good pass there. Stephen, I just want to throw something out there as we have a look at this battle with Rotenbach and Miller. There's millimeters between those two cars, but a track like Circuit of the Americas, and I say a track like it, a very wide track, we'll see now when they go through this section, and especially onto the pit straight and the back straight. It's a very wide, you can literally go 5 cars wide and still have room to race around.
I think the best that I've ever been in around Circuit of America in terms of how wide it is, we managed to line up 9 Skip Barbers in iRacing chasing down to a line in a race. 9 single-seaters to eventually get down to the finish line. I think I finished in 4th in that one, but 9 of those cars. You can fit 5
Miller
GT.
on the inside.
Now, there we go. Miller, big send, gets it in. Is it going to work? Goes out wide. Going in, chopping off the nose of Dean Cabasa, gets it sorted. You can fit 5.5 GT3 cars. No. Yeah, 5.5 GT3 cars across the length of that, the width of that circuit by the start-finish line. Just chucking that out there. That is if you put them door to door and you're not afraid to hurt them. Issam Domingo, though, back up to him. He's been having a bit of fun, dropping a wheel off onto the dirt. He is really pushing onto the back of Justin Lotus now. So, as it's been pointed out, Domingo is getting the Send It Award of note, trying everything he can, battling it out. He's dropped into 11th place. He's got Justin Lotus just ahead of him. Justin Lotus now going and blockading. Ooh, that got a little bit squirrely. Careful, guys. Don't do that. That lands up with a problem. And see Eric Kirstein diving up on the inside, getting ahead of Christopher Radloff as Christopher was actually coming off the gas, thinking that there would be a problem just ahead of him. So he lifted off a little bit. Eric Kirstein said, thank you very much. I'll take this, buddy. There's no fear in the eyes of these pro drivers currently out on the circuit for the Raceface GT3 Sprint Series. And they still got a mandatory pit stop to do. I'm not sure if there's going to be tyres left on some of these cars by the end of it. They're just going to hear, you've got a flat, because it's gone and pushed the tyre off the rim by that point.
Yeah, you know all about that one, don't you? But Stephen, excellent action we have here tonight. As we look at Eric Kirstein fighting his way around, he's trying to...
Contact! And here comes the carnage! Justin Lotus, Domingo running into one another, and that's allowed Eric Kirstein to get past with Christopher Radloff right behind him as they get on the power side by side between Christopher Radloff and Eric Kirstein, who avoided an accident narrowly, now having to try it once again through turn 1. Is some Domingo though? Oh, contact with Justin Lotus, and oh no! Contact going on, and one of the EG drivers, I think that was Viviers, yes, that was Viviers, that landed up in the contact. And, oh man, it's not something you want to see at all. But let's see if we can try and go onto Issam Domingo and go into his helmet cam and see what he could see. Side by side as they battle their way through into turn 1. Vivia's just in front of them. Oh, contact with Justin Lotus, and both of them going a little bit too quick. And unfortunately, Vivia is coming out second best in that fight.
Wow, that... you know, it can really just set you or disturb you when you go into a corner. All of a sudden there's cars flying across your screen. So very well done by him there to just keep his cool, and I won't say he went for the gap, but just to keep the car on the road.
I think there will be a little discussion after the race. That is...
Might be.
That's going to be a little bit up for discussion there.
Debrief.
Yeah, a debrief, as Jean Viviers does not want to have a debrief with Henrik Sichers at this point. Henrik has been doing a phenomenal job, first of everyone that's done his pit stops, gets past his teammate, and the two of them realizing not to fight one another, but focus on the charge at hand. Martin Rotenbach right onto the back of Justin Lotus as they battle their way through. Justin Lotus was part of that earlier carnage, and now has got Rotenbach really putting the power on and chasing him down as they make their way through. So keep an eye on how this is going to turn out, and you can be sure that Justin Lotus is going to be sitting with a bit between his teeth at the moment. Eric Kirstein, Christopher Radloff, they are swapping positions left, right, and center. Looks like the Mercedes having the advantage through some of the corners, and others, yeah, not so much. But the Ferrari, exactly the same. Yeah, not so much. Not having that screaming bald eagle going and shouting at them. They've got Ronaldo Boersma, who just came out of the pits. No, didn't come out of the pits. He actually lost it. So he landed up with a bit of a problem. You see, this is why we need to have like a Chevy, because as it comes past, you will only hear as it comes past. You won't hear anything else.
I still want to find out, is the Eagle okay? Because it sounded like, who did the pre-race thing? Was it...
It was Kevin James back in the early 2000s for the Daytona 500, where he went and called, start your engines. He even fell backwards on the start line and rolled on... No, he was rolling on his back while doing it in front of the crowd by the safety car. Go look it up, Kevin James, NASCAR. It's worth a good laugh. And Kevin James is actually a very famous actor. Dean Cabasa,
Justin Lotus.
Yeah, Dean Cabasa going a stunt driver this time, not an actor. Has got Justin Lotus, who is definitely not a stunt driver at this time. He's a racing driver, going and fighting out, managing to get past. And Dean Cabasa now has got a problem as Martin Rotenbach up on the inside. This is going to be a bit of a problem because he's boxed. And if Justin Lotus isn't got the pace, and Martin backing out. Martin took the route of, well, let's be sensible here. This will hurt if I miss the brake marker.
Self-preservation kicking in.
Yeah, it's gonna be a proper run here, but as you said, self-preservation needing to come into play, knowing that you've still got one pit stop to go. These tires are gonna have to carry you, and there's only 27 minutes and 15 seconds left of the race for the Raceface GT3 Sprint Series Round 2 here at COTA for Season 10. Whew, that's a mouthful.
It is indeed, but excellent battles going on out on track. One just in front of Seegers, Rotenbach, Kabasa, Lotus. I mean, they are definitely duking it out. But Seegers has already done his pit stop, so he's in 19th position. All the cars in front of him has not done a pit stop yet, so he's effectively, let's not say net first place, but he is a good 30-40 seconds actually up the road from this battle that's happening right in front of him.
Yeah, so it's going to be playing the careful game at this point. Ryan Otten's out in first place, has got Bashir Jadwat in second, followed by Mahath Musa, Daniel Demartros Petro, Nicholas Manuel, Sanjan Pillay. Then we have got Jason McGregor, Heinrich de Vet, Christopher Radloff, who seems to have lost track of Eric Kirstein at this point, and Issam Domingo is back again to go after Eric Kirstein. Eric going to have to keep an eye on this one as he breaks a little bit earlier, tries to go around the outside. Domingo walks him off the circuit, and Eric Kirstein now down into 11th place, but in the within the distance of Charles Darden, catching up right behind. And I've been having too much of that moonshine by the sounds of it. Maybe I should stop with it. Yeah, I thought I was in Texas, but I might be in California or a little bit in the Bulawayo.
And you're not sharing.
Well, gotta keep the good stuff, Gotta keep the good stuff. Battle going on for 17th and 18th place. Martin Rotenbach and Seegers having a great race, and this has been some incredible run. And I've got to say, the racing it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun to go and chat about. Yes, we've seen some proper door-to-door action and some DTM racing, let's call it that, going at one another.
These are.
Yeah, well, these are technically DTMs.
Technically DTM cars, which technically was touring cars. So, yeah, they can do some door-to-door racing, even though they are now GT3 cars.
They're not true.
Drive through for Kabasa. Track limits.
Oh, and he's coming into the pits as well. I think he was going to do his mandatory pit stop. So he's going to have to effectively pit twice. And, oh, man, heartache. Absolute heartache. As he trundles his way through at 50 kilometers an hour. Not the way you want to be sending things off, but at the moment, that's what it is. Luck of the draw, unfortunately, coming through to all our drivers. But track limits is something that we did bring up that guys will start facing. Also, the likes of stop-go penalties, 30 seconds if you hit the button a little bit too early while trying to exit and get ahead. But Ryan Otten's out in front. Bash in second place and is doing a phenomenal job at it. Bash actually... Oh, Justin Lotus scoring a drive-through. So that is track limits as well. I actually want to see if we can go back about 30 seconds and jump into his helmet cam and see where exactly that may have come from. Did he cut the chicane a little bit too much? Possibly.
I've got a feeling. What about this left-hander? That looks okay.
There. Yeah, that was a run over the curb.
Might have been, yeah.
That's... Considering that's within the loss, I think the chicane was the one that gave him that drive-through. Just cutting a little bit too close and is going to be hurting like mad. I see Hansi Myberg saying that unfortunately he had to retire due to a disconnect. And that takes him out of the running. Hansi, oh man, heart goes out to you, buddy. Shouldn't be racing on Wi-Fi. I'm gonna get banned from this Discord, I'm telling you. I'm gonna get server muted if I go missing. It's up to the admin that server muted me.
Well, you only have yourself to blame if you say stuff like that about Raceface admin.
Well,
Stephen, you will be sorely missed.
I'll be sorely missed. Will I? Will I really? This is, yeah.
Nicholas Manuel is right up to the rear bumper of Daniel de Petro. So he's going to try and make his way around this long straight, tucking into the stream. Who will have the upper hand? Will it be the Lamborghini, the Bull, or will it be the Prancing Horse? Well, at this stage, the Bull is pulling away from. It does not look like the Prancing Horse is making much of an impact down that long back straight.
Not at all. And for anyone that's curious, if you ever get to see a GT3 Lamborghini in real life, do yourself a favor. When the engine bay is open, look down to the gearbox right by the flywheel. It's right at the back of the car. You'll actually see it says Audi written on it. Because it uses an Audi gearbox, which is found in your R8 GT3 Evo 2 that they've got, the LMS Evo 2. They've also utilized the Audi steering wheel, which is then rebranded under Lamborghini, and a lot of the rear drivetrain is actually an Audi R8 underneath it. How's that?
And it's very small.
You won't see it. You won't see it unless you're looking for it. But if you actually get a chance, look straight down. So when the back's open, look straight down, and where you see the engine and gearbox connect, you'll see it says Audi. And off on the suspension pillars, you'll see Audi. But what's not an Audi is Nicholas Manuel and the Ferrari taking the pass and locking down that 4th place. Now side-by-side action with Daniel DeMartros Pitro in 5th and goes around the outside. Wow, okay. That's taking a long way around.
These two are really battling it out. But just quickly on the chat, I see Daniel De Villiers says his game has crashed 4 times on him now. So, Stephen, do you think a little bit of internet issues are creeping in tonight? We know the internet what it should be. So definitely a case that the guys are feeling it out on track also tonight.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of wondering what's going on. A couple of the guys not going to be too impressed with this internet.
Manual on the inside.
And also a bit of a little bit of rubbing and racing between the two. And this is a battle for 4th place. I do want to point out, Alan Patterson, though, is facing the wrong way. Pirouettes are not a good idea, especially with cars coming the wrong way. But he's trying to get himself going in a safe manner. Side by side once again between the Lamborghini and the Ferrari. And it does look like Daniel going and stopping on the apex, pulling up the handbrake and saying no. And here comes the Ferrari of Nicholas Manuel. Bump, barge, drive him off the end of the circuit. These two are working their way through, and it's gonna be a very, very interesting one. Robert Wentworth saying, I have a GT3 Lamborghini at the workshop. Yeah, go take a look. It's out there on the gearbox. How I found that one out is actually with the Scribanti team. They went and opened it up, and they showed me that it says Audi out on the gearbox just ahead, just behind the flywheel. Useless bit of information. Use it, don't use it. But that's how it goes. Daniel DeMartros Petro pulling into the pits. Dean Cabasa has not served a drive-through. As, well, we saw him with a drive-through. Did he do it? He's done one. This is his 2nd drive-through. Heinrich de Wet also with a drive-through. Yeah, so Dean Cabasa, this is his 2nd drive-through. Heinrich de Wet, this is his 1st drive-through. But Dean Cabasa still needs to pit. So effectively, he is now doing 3 pit stops. So,
and
yeah, that's just, it hurts. It properly hurts. He's out there. He's keeping it going, and my hat's off to him to keep on going that way. 18 minutes left of the race, or 18 minutes and 20 seconds. Ryan Otten's out in 1st place. Bashir Jadwat in 2nd. Mahayev Vusa right behind. Nicholas Manuel in 4th. 5th place is Sanjan Pillay. Jason McGregor. Christopher Radloff. Issam Domingo, who we've seen him through the walls a little bit earlier. Along with Daniel DeMartros Petro in 9th. Darren Miller is in 10th. But take a look. Daniel is in 9th place and has completed all these pit stops. So keep that in mind. Behind Miller is Enric Sikkers, followed by Jan van der Merwe. Leclerc Besson. Quinn Duplessis, Essa Esterhuis, Chris Heineke, Michael Schultz, Justin Lotus doing everything he can, Charles Darden, Ramona Yonker, Grant Sebastian, Dean Cabasa, who is still circulating at the moment, Ronaldo Boersma up into 23rd, 24th is Martin Rosenbach, followed by Tinus Buerta. Heinrich de Vet going and serving his drive-through. He's going to fall down the order. Here comes Alan Patson as he comes launching past. Jean Viviers and Tini and Kube. So Heinrich de Vet down into 29th position. 32 cars started, 29 cars circulating at this point for round number 2 of our Raceface GT3 Championship.
A couple of retirements throughout the race, but Seegers, he's not holding back. He's charging his way to the front in 11th place, having done all these pit stops. It's only Dean Miller in 10th place that's now behind him, I think.
Yeah, no, that's it. It looks like Seegers managed to get past, and let's see if we can get a better camera shot of that, because I think Miller just outbraked himself, and Seegers, who was right up on the inside, managed to lock in that apex and force Miller out wide. You can see that nose of the bull slamming to the ground, trying to make up a bit of room, but just was too slow, and that's what I was worried about. Guys just not having the drive on the exit of the corner. It's something that I've actually dealt with, and that is just something to be well aware of.
So Sieg is now up into 10th position, and he's really charging out. Only Daniel de Speedlabs, which was in 3rd position before he pitted, if I remember correctly, in front of him. So can we see a maybe challenge for a top 5, maybe a 4th position in this race?
Well, it's on the cards. Chris Heineke with a drive-through penalty, lying in 16th place. He scored a drive-through penalty. Track limits exceeded. Jeez, we definitely have the FIA stewards from F1 here this evening. I think we need to go and fire them. They are watching those track limits all too well at the moment. Charles Darden, he's got Ronaldo Boersma right behind him. Ronaldo Boersma had a phenomenal run in qualifying, but it seems like the race not been the greatest of ones that he wants to remember. And I've got to say, I love Charles Darden of the Project Vapors team, the old school livery. That's white and green. It's very basic, but it's an old school reminiscence of Ferrari Le Mans cars, early Ferrari racing that's going on there. Big roundel on the door instead of the usual squares. I've got to say, I like it. Bit of a nod to the old classics, and let's go special place.
Bit of a retro theme.
Oh, that's it. I like the older stuff. I like the older stuff. I'm going to see if I can try and find out where that actually came from, or where the design of it came from, because there was effort put into that one. That was not just a simple put something modern together. That's got a bit of a history. Has to, absolutely has to. We've seen a lot of guys put in some interesting liveries, nod to the past.
PWSR last season also ran the retro type liveries for a couple of races around the Le Mans time. So it's nice to see the guys, as you said, putting in that type of effort and putting in the research to get those retro liveries going. Out in front, we've got Ryan Ottens. He's now almost 5 seconds ahead of Jadwat. So out in front, it's starting to open up a little bit, Stephen, because Musa is 6.5 seconds back from Jadwat in 3rd place, and then Manuel also another 7 seconds back. So out in front, not as close as it is in the midfield. That's where the action is. That's battling it out for the positions. They are trying to get as far the field as possible, but out in front, Ryan Ottens, quite a comfortable lead at this stage. Do you think he's got music playing in the car?
Tempting. He may actually have. As we see a bit of a battle going on of Air Force One coming into land, going after Sanjan Pillay. So keep an eye out. SES de Hayes is the pilot of Air Force One, flying through and making sure to take the president to victory here at the Circuit of Americas. And I've got to say, you can hear the screaming eagle off to the side of it. He's not on a stallion, no. That's for non-patriots. He is a patriot at heart with Air Force One around the circuit.
Should have been a Mustang.
It should have been a Mustang.
Or a Corvette.
I think the Air Force One would fit more of the Mustang vibe. If you're going back to the world of Top Gun sort of thing, that had cruising around, or even jumping onto an old Triumph bike as he was catching up to a F-16 fighter. Ooh,
I've got
disqualification
a bit of
for
inside.
Dean Cabasa.
Oh,
That is our first disqualification of the season, and Dean Cabasa getting at the DQ, and I think that was for not serving a penalty in time.
yeah. I think, you have 3 laps to serve the penalty, if I'm not mistaken. And unfortunately, getting to the pits just a little bit late. But Stephen, I do have inside information. Apparently, some say Ryan is listening to the new Barbie song because it keeps him calm.
Oh gosh, yeah, the old one, fine. The old one done by Aqua, I love it. Great. Anyone listen to the new Barbie song? Go look it up. Barbie movie. Nicki Minaj is the one that's got it. I promise you, you listen to that, ruins your day instantly. Takes about 3 seconds. So, Barbie movie, Nicki Minaj. That's it. I've given you the warning. It will ruin your day. If you're curious, you're curious. I've given you the info. What you do with it is your mistake to go and follow.
I was corrected. Daniel Rowe corrected us on the chat. Apparently, he does not listen to Barbie song. He listens to I Came In Like a Wrecking Ball by Miley Cyrus, and he sings along to it too.
I don't think Wrecking Ball is the one that's going to be playing. I think there's another older 2000s rock song. I Just Want to Run Away. That would also kind of fit into that. I don't think there's going to be anything of My Chemical Romance, Black Parade. I don't think that's happening in the car. I think that's going to be one to keep an eye out for. Mahath Musa, though, is definitely listening to Let's Go Get It To Ya. That's for certain, as he charges down in second place, doing a phenomenal run. But that has allowed Bash, who has done his pit stop, dropping into 5th position, putting him into a net first at the moment. He's only 1.3 seconds behind Jason McGregor, who is actually 20.7 seconds to Nicholas Manuel. Now, let's check it out here. Pit stops from entrance to exit, just driving straight through the pits, will cost you 38 to 39 seconds roughly, all right, to deal with. Your stops on average will take you about 5.2 seconds just to splash and dash. So that already puts you over 40 seconds that you have to deal with. You're heading into that 45-second mark is going to be your safe bet. So Ryan Ottens at the moment needs to open up at least 45 seconds to try and claw his way through. So let's see how it's going to go. But one thing I can tell you, did you know Tim the cameraman was the first person to design Circuit of America while chatting to Abraham Lincoln? There's something to think about.
That's deep.
Exactly.
Now, Cameron de Bastos is asking a question on the chat. Says, who do you think is listening to the Top Gun anthem? Challenging the inner Charles Leclerc moment.
Highway to the Danger Zone. I don't know. Highway to Danger Zone, where it's all about aggressive, it's all about sending it, and darn it,
I know who you're talking about.
Tom Cruise going and really pushing the boundaries at the moment with all his jet flying, proving that he is better than the youngsters, but at the same time managing to really upset everyone high up. Wonder who are they talking about?
Don't see him on the chat, though.
I don't think he will be on the chat. I think we will get a message afterwards. Bashir Jadwat onto the back of Jason McGregor. Jason still needing to do the pit stop. Bash, on the other hand, has got no pit stops. He has done it all and now keeping his foot right in it. Do want to point out, though, these two have come to blows once again. Daniel Petro, and there's some Domingo just pulls in the pits. Well, I got excited for that. Thanks. Appreciate it.
You're excited about a pit stop?
Yep, no, that was it. You know, it's definitely a run there. Alan Patterson with a drive-through penalty. He's down in 26th position. Oh, I can see this being a race for a lot of drivers to forget. Others are going to be very happy with it. 7 minutes and 30 seconds left of the race as they put the power down, really doing everything they can to claw their way through. I do see that we've got one car, number 4, actually. That was Dean Kabasa. No, he is actually off circuit, so I saw there was yellow flags being flared up, and they managed to take it away, going and moving the car behind the barriers. So, as they're getting the drive back, Bash right behind Jason McGregor, and I see Daniel Rowe saying Bago listens to heavy metal. Ah, okay, that's good to know. So he's listening to Fallen in Reverse? No, maybe Skillet? No, maybe not that. I know what he's listening to.
I'm not going to say what
he's listening to.
Sometimes
he's listening for Bowling for Soup.
Bowling for Soup, okay?
You know who Bowling for Soup is?
Hmm?
Bowling for Soup is the guys that made 1985, which has been a hit. They also did the lead song for Jimmy Neutron, the opening theme song for Jimmy Neutron. They did the opening theme song for the 4th reincarnation of Scooby-Doo. Bit of useless knowledge there. Bowling for Soup, guys.
We shall not say what. Oh, on the inside, Jadwatt taking the position. He's trying to.
He got past Jason
close
McGregor.
that. Yeah, trying to. Well, and Jason McGregor pits. So, he's trying to close that gap down to Ryan Ottens, who has not pitted yet. You spoke about the gap needing to be about 45 seconds to see if he can. I don't know if undercut is really a possibility, but he's really trying to push hard and work on those quick laps. As we have a look at Nicholas Daniel making his way around, also needing to do his pit stop. So not a lot of time left in the race now to complete those pit stops.
No, and check. Ryan Ottens needs to go into the pits. He's only 13.6 seconds away from Mahath Musa. Nicholas Manuel is 8 seconds away, and Bashir trying to close down the distance to him is 22 seconds. So Ryan Ottens has opened up and possibly have saved himself that little bit of time. Bash doing everything he can, does have an opportunity to go for second place, but at the moment he's a bit far back from first place. Christopher Radloff, he's also needing to do his pit stop, so keep an eye out when he gets into the pits. Darren Miller, who's also been on an absolute charge at the moment, needs to do his pit stop. Justin Lotus has done his pit stop very, very late. He's dropping down the order into 20th position at the moment. So he is really slipping and sliding down the order. 27 cars still going. 4 minutes left of the race here for the Circuit of Americas. And, well, it's going to be exciting as they make their way through. But Ryan Ottens now trying to carve his way through the field is going to be thinking, when is that pit stop going to work out?